Hello, and welcome back to Novelty podcast. Oh, wait, hold on. Oh my God, we're live. Hello, and welcome back to Novelty with S&B, the book club with podcast. I'm your co-host, Beck. Jeez Louise. So, in lieu of our tea of the day, unless you are drinking tea, do you want to talk about it?
Crockpot this morning with like cinnamon and stuff.
Oh, sure.
So today I'm just drinking that. What are you drinking?
Because your son was here and sick, I am drinking Traditional Medicine's Immune Zoom elderberry with echinacea.
Did you get sick?
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh no. He just had like a runny nose for like a day.
Yeah, I don't know, dude, because Jeff is super sick. Like he has like very sore throat. Like his nose is really stuffy. Mine is getting there. Like I have a little scratch. It could be also that we went to Universal, so.
Yeah. Combination of both.
Yes. We'll call him A, we'll call him B.
Yeah.
But
so
yes. You visited us.
Yeah, I did. I came out and we had a lot of fun, went to all kinds of places. But one of the best things we did was you and Belen and myself went on a tea date when I visited.
Yeah, that was so much fun. Quick history lesson of afternoon tea. It began as a social gathering around the 1840s for the upper class in England. How the story goes is that the Duchess of Bedford was feeling hungry before dinner. Oh no, I said the H word. Before dinner, and she enjoyed some snacks with her cup of tea. This became a routine as she started to invite guests over for tea and treats. Oh, I said treats too. Oh no.
Your dog's gonna freak.
He already is. And then mid-afternoon, the tea room that we went to, it called it Spooky High Tea, but it's technically wrong, but also technically correct because we did eat at 6. So high tea is generally like a dinner time tea, but afternoon tea is generally enjoyed between 2 and 3, like we are now. So I guess it does work, but most of the time when you hear afternoon tea, it's that 3-tier tray where you get the sandwiches, the scones, and then the treats on the top.
Oh, well, it was really fun. So this was my first experience with afternoon high teas. So for those that are new to the concept, this is how it went. We were able to choose between 6 seasonal teas or 3 iced potions.
I forgot what you chose. What did you choose?
I chose the cinnamon roll tea, which was fantastic.
Oh, yeah. I chose the apple cider donut, and I believe Belen chose the maple. We kind of fucked up, and we did not try each other's teas.
I know, because we all got something different.
Yeah.
And then we didn't try. Mine was really good, though. So
yeah, mine was too, actually.
Yeah.
And then you have a choice of 3 finger sandwiches that vary between savory and sweet. I chose the turkey herbed cream cheese, toasted s'more, and blueberry cobbler. What did you choose?
I got the cucumber and cream cheese, the turkey and herbed cream cheese. It was so good.
I hate
the toasted s'more. That was pretty good. So it was like 3 savories or 3 sweets or 4 savories and 4 sweets. I forget.
Yeah,
I got 2 savories. They were pretty good. You also had a choice of 1 scone, and I had the butterscotch, and it was the best. And y'all did try that and agreed. It was so good.
Yeah, because Belen and I both got the pumpkin glaze, and we felt like we got,
ripped off
because yours was the best.
You guys tried mine and made a sad face.
Well, yeah, because it was good, but yours was better.
Yeah. I tried. I tried your guys's too. It was okay, but yeah, the if you like butterscotch, it was so good. It was really good.
You had your first butterbeer too.
I did. We all kept our mugs, so it was super cute.
Did you? That's awesome.
Yeah, it was so fun. But yeah,
and then the top tier was kind of like a random assortment of spooky desserts. I think there's like 3 macarons and then like cookie, those gross candy corns. I don't think any of
was-
us were particularly fond of the spooky treats, but
No, but everything else was really good. So it
yeah.
was, yeah. I mean, overall, it was a really fun experience for everyone, all three of
Yes.
us. We all wore cute fall sweaters, and it was just fun for us three girls to get out and do something together.
Mhm.
So thank you, Beck, for setting
You're
that
very
up. That was
welcome.
super fun. It had like the cutest little table decorated, and then it had a placard reserved for Beck, and we were so
We were
excited.
very excited, but our
We were
butts were
right by
not.
the we were right by the window, and
Right.
we're awkward. So people just looking up at us like, oh
I
no.
know. And then for a little bit, Belinda was parking her car, so we just looked like we were on a date, which isn't the worst thing because
No.
I would date you.
Oh, thank you. You're married to my brother. Weird,
Well,
but no.
yeah,
But no,
we
we
look
had
the same.
it was like these little benches and these little like bird cage looking things, all
Yeah, like
decorated,
we're
real
almost in a
pretty.
birdcage.
And we're both like, I'm like, I'll sit by you just so Belen can sit across. And it was just funny because before she got there, we're just sitting by each other looking outside, all awkward. It was really funny.
And
But
it took
was
her
a
like
good time.
3 to 5 minutes. So we're just like, hey, how are you? How are you today? Just it's so awkward.
Yeah, as we
But
are.
I had so much fun. Like now I'm just looking for like more places that we could possibly do afternoon tea at.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a
Or like
blast.
bring that vibe to this situation of like
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. It'd be
Yeah, I've
super
gotten
fun.
too acquainted with eBay in the last couple of weeks.
Yes. You've been sending me a couple pictures and I'm like, oh my God. Of the
Yeah.
owl.
The
Owl
owls
tea
in
set.
particular. Yeah.
I don't have a tea set. You're like already a collector at this point. I don't have any. And I'm like, if I were to get any, it'd be owls. And so now you're just a bad influence. They're so cute though.
I'm a terrible influence. I'm one of those people that's like, you only live once. You might as well just spend the money.
Yeah,
Which is
your brother's
terrible.
the same way. Your brother, I'm sorry,
Oh.
your husband's the same way.
Yeah.
Because he always does that with Adam and trying to get him to buy more computer stuff. And now you're getting me, we're going to be broke because of you. No.
hey. Tea sets a lot cheaper than computer stuff.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. That's
Like,
very true.
He got WoW, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah, you could have got that teapot for as much as he spent on WoW.
Probably. Yeah, probably.
Yep, see?
Well, we'll get there.
Hmm.
We'll get there. On to the books.
On to the
now.
books. Okay. So you and I both did already read the hashtag read with S&B. However, we should probably let everybody else catch up to us because we're way too excited. Womp womp. But I mean, without giving anything away. So I started this month with The Land of Lost Things by John Connolly. And I should say that we have not spoken. Well, we have spoken, obviously, you were here. But we did not speak about the books that we have read in the last 2 weeks, now 3 weeks, since the last time we spoke. So I read The Land of Lost Things. It's by John Connolly. It is fantasy horror. It is kind of like a book about a book, which is, I guess, my theme for this couple last weeks, because the next one is also. It was 358 pages, and I bought this, but it's one of those books that's been on my TBR or like my Kindle library for the last too long. So it's one of those things I'm like, I have a couple of days. I should probably just get through it, and then it actually took me a few weeks. But anyway, the plot summary. Twice upon a time, for that is how some stories should continue, Phoebe, an 8-year-old girl, lies comatose following a car accident. She is a body without a spirit, a stolen child. Ceres, her mother, can only sit by her bedside and read aloud to Phoebe the fairy stories she loves and hope that they might summon her back to this world. But it is hard to keep faith, so very hard. Now, an old house on the hospital grounds, a property connected to a book written by a vanished author, is calling to Ceres. Something wants her to enter and to journey to a land colored by the memory. It's colored with a U. Colored by the memories of Ceres' childhood and the folklore beloved by her father, to a land of witches and dryads, giants and mandrakes, to a land where old enemies are watching and waiting. So, I read the first book of this, which came out back in, I want to say 2012, maybe 2002. I may be off by a decade, but I remember watching or reading this book and just, or the first book at least, and being so enthralled with it. Like I embodied this book, which I tend to do. Um, it's so profoundly changed who I was. So I was really excited to see that there was a part two. There for a while, like it is a standalone. Like you can read either of these by themselves and be completely fine. There are some like Easter eggs and like it does catch you up to the story that was before, so you don't necessarily feel like you're like you lost out on something.
Right.
Um, we so part of this book, in a sense, is that we become the stories we read, or stories are, or our stories, like we are stories to be read. So that is an aspect of the book, is like she is trying to figure out how she read this book and now is part of it. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
There are pretty heavy aspects of grief, loss, and helplessness. And like, without getting too into my personal history here, I read this at a time where a lot of things were happening, which is another reason why we took a little bit of a break. So like, the health concerns wasn't so fun to read about. I think I would have liked this book far more if I was in a state that it didn't resonate so deeply with me, you know?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, sometimes the books, depending on what you're going through and what you're reading about, it becomes a little too real and a little too close to home.
Yes.
And yeah, I dealt with that when I was going through my own stuff emotionally, and it seemed like you know, a year ago, and it seemed like every book I read dealt with their something that I was dealing with at the time. So it was really hard for me to, every book I was like, oh, here it is again. Like it was just, it kind of made it hard, but you know, that it also made those books, like, I don't know, a little more special to you in a sense too, because it's like, I don't know, you'll remember it always because where you were and what your state of mind was and what was going on when you read it. So, but it does kind of make it hard sometimes, for sure. I can definitely understand that, for sure.
Well, and like part of reading books is the escapism, right? Is like I want to get away from the things that I'm part of,
and
but
then it's
also
keeping you in it.
yeah, but also like being able to find yourself in books is comforting as well, I feel.
Yeah.
So like it just depends on, I guess, what kind of mood you're in.
Yeah, this book probably, like most people, like if I were to read it at the same time, it wouldn't have affected me the way it affected you, just because of what's going on. So yeah, I totally get that.
Right. Yeah.
I totally get that 100%. Yeah.
But I do like 100% wholeheartedly recommend this book. And it's prequel. Like, go read. Absolutely. Like, I have a problem with like finding books that are not unknown, but like definitely under the radar. And I feel like this deserves a lot more hype than it gets, for sure. Yeah. Oh, and I did do a fan art. I don't have it uploaded, but I did do a fan art of this because like the characters were so like you're able to see the characters, which is hard for me.
That's cool. Is that the one that you posted yesterday?
Not yesterday, a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, okay, cool.
That's the awesome. Bone crown. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Go really find me on Instagram if you want to see it, because I don't have the heart or the time to find it right now. What did you start with?
So I read, it took me a while to get through it because I got entangled in some other books I'll talk about later, but I read If You See Her by Anya Alborn. It was she's such a good author. Paranormal horror, 293 pages. I just finished it today. And I know, and I listened to it.
Even more congratulations.
On Audible. I did read some of it. I like going back and forth. I'll talk a little bit more about Audible and how I actually enjoy it later. But so the plot summary is: the house on Old Mill Road has stood in an open field for longer than Jesse Wells has been alive. Its crooked windows and jutting turret tormenting the kids of Warsaw, Michigan, the way only a haunted house knows how. Everyone imagines that something terrible lurks within the house's abandoned rooms, especially Jesse and his two closest friends, Casey and Reed. But when Reed chooses the house as a backdrop for his own suicide, childhood ghost stories are transformed into a nightmare that sends Jesse into a downward spiral of grief. Nearly 20 years later, Jesse stands on the collapsing steps of the house that snatched away his best friend. Casey had asked him to revisit their old demons, if only to help them find closure that's long overdue. But tragedy finds them once more, and Jesse is left forever changed. Now, left to cope with the disaster that had become his life, Jesse must unravel the mystery behind the house that has terrified him since he was a boy. To fail is to lose everything he has left, but success might come at even a higher price. So, this book is truly freaky. It's really good. A lot of heavy stuff in it, obviously with suicide, as you heard in the summary. But you really watch Jesse. It seems like 20 years later, you skip forward in time and he is married and has a kid, and it kind of seems like he's good, but there's always been something gnawing at him, and you kind of find that out. And when Casey's like, I need to go back. Like, I need to go back. And after they go back, another tragedy happens. You just watch Jesse's like downward just decline in everything, in sanity and in everything. And this book really does like had me thinking it was going to go one of two ways. So I'm like, it's either this or that. And one of them I was right, but the other one I was not. So there is paranormal aspects, some an Exorcist type vibe, not exactly, but with possessions and such, right? So yeah, so there's that in there. There's a mysterious girl that he keeps seeing, and he's always saw her since they were children, and it becomes so he gets after once he starts descending right into his madness, she ends up everywhere. He's a teacher and he sees her everywhere he goes, and he'll look and it's her and she's all messed up. Anya Albert has a really good way of explaining horror, and then he blinks hard and looks again, and it was just a student walking down the hall.
Yeah.
So a lot of that going on. It's a really good story. The epilogue, very important, and I knew it. I'm like, oh no, because you think it's over. Like, oh, the story's over. Neat little bow.
Nope.
No,
never is.
I guess it's kind of a spoiler, but I do recommend it. It's definitely perfect for this time of the year. Like, it has the whole spooky vibes. I like paranormal. If you're not into paranormal, you probably won't enjoy this as much. But I personally love it. So, yeah, I definitely recommend it. It was a really good book.
I really like Anya Albert and all of the things that she does. The thing about her, though, is that like a lot of her books do seem very formulated. Like, you kind of see what's coming, and like each of her books are kind of. I guess I haven't read Brother. I feel like that one's completely different.
That one's very different from her usual.
But The Bird Eater was similar, I want to say. Yeah. And so was Seed.
Okay, yeah. See, I haven't read Seed. I have the Seed, and it's been sitting there forever.
You should read it. It's so good.
I know. My daughter wanted to borrow it. I'm like, I gotta read it. I gotta read it first because I don't know what's in there. So yeah, but yeah. Oh, it's a no. She can't read that.
Well, I mean, I guess they watched it while they were here, so it'd probably be fine. Yeah,
she's seen a couple of horror movies.
There's nothing
she liked Poltergeist. That one's pretty creepy.
Oh yeah. And she should be fine.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, I do want to read that one. I want to read like all of her books. I've never, although I'll say If You See Her is probably my least favorite. It was still great. It wasn't bad at all. It's just out of the three I've read, I like the other two more, but I want to read all of her stuff because I haven't been disappointed yet, and that's rare.
Yeah, so, she's definitely one of those people that like you could, I don't know.
Yeah, like auto by author material, especially for me. Like, the horror aspect and everything she writes is really fun, and I like it. I like it. I like her. So yeah, if you see her, it's it's on KU too. So yeah.
And
so
then
if you
you bought the audiobook, or it's part of like your Audible subscription?
I had a it gives me like tokens because I signed up.
Tokens.
So I got a little, what do they call it? A coin, a
credit.
token. There it is, credit, one of those things. I used one of my credits for it, so I don't know.
Because some of the time when you get like the book through Amazon, like if you check out through Amazon, they also give you the option. It's like $7.49 or something, and you can buy the audiobook too.
They had the audio for free, but it sounded like robot. I don't know. I didn't want to listen to that.
No.
So I went along with Audible, and it was like a dude, which obviously it should be. It's about a guy. It makes a little more sense. But he was good. Like, I'll talk more about listening to narration later. Yeah, but no, it was good. It was really good. So what do you want? Oh,
yep.
You read it.
I read the book. I read A Short Stay in Hell by Stephen Peck. It is fantasy horror. Again, books about books.
Yeah.
It's 110 pages, and I bought this, but it was like, I want to say like $2 or something. I think I had like credits from Amazon, so it was even cheaper. So an ordinary family man, geologist and Mormon. Anyway, Soren Johansson has always believed he'll be reunited with his loved ones after death and in an eternal hereafter. Then he dies. Soren wakes up to find himself cast by a god he has never heard of into a hell whose dimensions he can barely grasp. A vast library he can only escape from by finding the books that contain the story of his life. In this haunting existential novella, author, philosopher, and ecologist Stephen L. Peck explores the subverse vision of eternity, taking the reader on a journey through the afterlife of a world where everything everyone believed in turns out to be wrong. So catch me practicing every religion just in case, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
I think when I spoke to you, when I finished it, I told you that, like, you know, this doesn't seem so bad when you first think about it. It's like you got food, you got a place to sleep, something to do all day, and then slowly but surely you start to grow in your despair, just like Soren here.
Yeah, for sure.
It is very interesting how Stephen kept humanity in hell. Like, there's a university, the opposition across the way, and then he showed us the absolute depravity of humanity with a very specific lunatic. And I won't get too much into it, but I feel like it was very well done. I liked it. I liked it a lot.
Yeah. It's isn't it weird though? Like, you're reading it and you're like, God, like, working towards nothing, and what are you doing this all for when you're there? But then it kind of makes you question, well, what am I doing right now? That book messed me up in so many ways.
Yeah, you definitely need a couple of days to recover. Like, it really did only take me like 2 hours to read, but like I couldn't read anything else for a couple of days after that because it really, like,
it's insane.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's crazy how a tiny little book could, like, be so, I don't know, draining and make you think so much. It was amazing. Well done.
The existential dread was a great way of explaining it. Yes, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. Quick read. It's perfect season for it, so go pick it up. I do recommend it to fans of more of like a science fiction horror and not necessarily like thriller, true crime, realistic. This ain't it.
No.
But I'm a big fan of things that are science fiction and paranormal and spooky, so here it is. I enjoy it.
Yeah, really good. Crazy. It's so short, but wow.
So was that.
Yeah. So I started.
I know. I'm so excited.
So I read Throne of Glass and Crown of Midnight. Throne of Glass is 406 pages. Crown of Midnight is 420 pages. I finished Throne of Glass on October 9th, and I started it October 1st. I didn't put that in there, but that's when I started it. And I finished Crown of Midnight October 18th. So this past Friday.
Yeah.
And I listened to them and
I'm
read
so
them.
proud of you.
I even read a little bit while I was at your house because it's so good. So
and then you got a little Kindle cover.
And then I did. Her mom made presents. So I got a Kindle cover. It's super cute. And then she made these like cute little bookmarks. And they're for like, my kids got some. I kept one for me because they're so cute.
Yeah.
And she made like all this cute stuff for like Becky was showing me all these things like for baking. And I don't know. It was the cutest thing. Her mom is so sweet.
I love my mom so much.
If she listens, thank you.
Yeah, I'll let her know.
Appreciate it. Yeah. All these cute little things. So, anyways, I'm not going to go into a summary in this and that, right? You guys,
right? Yeah.
You guys know we've talked about it before. So we have talked about this. Beck has already read this, so I kept saying I'm going to start it next. But I wanted to get some stuff out of the way because once you're invested, like it takes over.
It does. And like,
it really does. That's what took me so long to finish If You See Her, because I started this too. And I'm like, oh crap. So it's like going back and forth. So I'm not going to get into what it's about. I think most people know to an extent. So this series was, I will say, intimidating seeing it at first glance, right? It's
absolutely
very long. I've never read a series like this. I'm also not a seasoned fantasy reader by any stretch of the mind. So I was a little bit intimidated, like, what if I don't understand what's going on? Or what if I'm not a fan? But, well, I am. So I'm in love so far. And I'm not going to say I like it more than ACOTAR quite yet, but I think I might at the end. We'll see. So many twists and turns and characters that I love and hate the ones you're supposed to hate.
Yes.
I already had my first, like, tear up. I didn't cry, but I teared up a bit.
You didn't cry?
No.
You're heartless. Just kidding.
Well, I was listening to it, which
different.
Yeah, I think when I'm reading it, it really I don't know, it hits me harder. But I don't want to spoil anything. So we will be having a tea and Tog.
Yeah.
Where we'll be Tog Tea, where we'll be talking all things Throne of Glass and having tea. So it'll be much like our previous episode that was Oops All ACOTAR. Just it'll be dedicated to Throne of Glass, and we'll just sit there and talk about it, discuss our thoughts and everything in the series. So I am really excited for that episode. I'll keep you all updated on like what book I'm on, but I'm not going to give any details. Also, it's really hard to give your thoughts on the book when there could very much be spoilers. There would be spoilers.
Yes, at this point, yes.
Yeah, so I'll keep you guys up to date where I am, if I liked it or not, but I'm not going to get into anything until we do that episode. So it was, I really like it so far. So I'm on book 3, but if you guys, I'm a little bit of a slow reader. I'm getting, the Audible's definitely helping, but if you guys want to listen and you haven't read it yet, get started and catch up. And then, you can join us when we air that episode, and it's going to be tons of fun. We hope we get some people in the chat talking because we can't wait to talk about it. So
yeah. I do have a few questions without spoiling it. How did you find, like, because a lot of people think the first book is very slow and hard to get into. Did you find that at all, or were you?
No.
Okay.
People say the same thing about ACOTAR. Not at all. And I've seen a lot of people who, from what I've seen, there's no spice. So
yeah, she wrote this when she was 16, by the way. So
yeah, and if you're somebody who like is spice driven with books, you're probably not going to enjoy this. But no. I would say give it a chance because the story is so good. There is tension, there is romance, but it is definitely like on the back burner.
Very secondary. Yeah.
Very much so. Plot is number one, and it is a great story and twists and turns. And I was not bored at all. I saw some people after I already started Throne of Glass say, "Oh, you should start with Assassin's Blade." I'm gonna read it after Air of Fire, which I'm reading right now. I'm gonna take a little break. I'll get into that later, and then I'm gonna read Assassin's Blade. I'm gonna go ahead and read it before I move on. So Yeah, my order is going to be wacky too, because I'm going to switch.
Let me know when you start Assassin's Blade, because I'll read it with you, because I didn't read it either.
Yeah. Okay.
Because, like, I don't know. I felt like I wanted to get through the story without going back in time. But now that I have finished it, I'm probably okay with.
Yeah, I do want to go back because Sam does come up a lot, and I'd like to know a lot more about their story. So
yeah,
me
too.
And so shut up.
I'm so it's so hard, dude.
I know.
But
I can't.
You at least got through one major spoiler that I can talk to you about now.
Yeah.
At the end of book 2. So like
Insane.
That helped a lot, dude.
The end of book 2 was just like, what?
And it's a lot easier to like look at like social media now, because like it's not going to ruin that one specific spoiler.
Big thing. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. I'm also gonna switch. So before the last one, I don't have all the names of them in my brain right now, but there's Tower of Dawn, and then what's the other one? Do you know?
Oh no, I don't.
No. There's the other one. I'm gonna switch them because I know.
Oh, the tandem read.
Yeah,
or you can read it tandemly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna tandem read. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read Tower of Dawn and then read Empire of Storms and then read Kingdom of Ash, because I think you told me. I know, but I think you told me Empire of Storms is like a massive cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, so I'm going to read Tower of Dawn first, since they happen at the same time. I can switch them. So I'm going to read Tower of Dawn, and then I'm going to read Empire of Storms, and then Kingdom of Ash, which I don't know what happens at all, but I know Kingdom of Ash is going to wreck me, because that's what I keep hearing and seeing.
It will.
Also, when I like posted that little TikTok about me like starting the book, I did the whole Lion King. It is time. But everybody's comments were like, really sweet, but then also like, I hope you have your tissues ready. I'm like, fuck. And the fact that like something sad already happened, and I know it's going to be far worse. I don't even want to think about it. Shut up. I know.
There's so many bad things.
I know. So, yeah, I really enjoy
I'm so excited for you.
Do I recommend it? So far, the first 2 books, absolutely recommend. Yes.
10 out of 10. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's all I got for that.
Well, that we're done then. Unless you got anything else.
Yeah. So
yeah,
I'll talk about Audible real quick. So, just so everybody knows, I like it. If anybody's on the fence about it, I would recommend doing it. So it is nice. I
told you.
I know. I did it though. It just took me a minute.
I just yell at you.
So I know it is nice to listen to my books, like you said it would be, while doing some chores around the house, cooking. I have a thing with puzzles. I'm like an old lady, so I love puzzles. So I like to listen while I do my puzzles too. So my thing was like, I thought the narration would kind of annoy me, but it really doesn't. At first it's weird. Like for me, I'm like, oh. But I do get so into the story that like I almost forget. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I don't think about like someone's reading me a bedtime story, or something weird. So yeah. People, the narrators I've heard so far have been really good. So there's a character, Mort, in the Throne of Glass series.
Oh yeah.
Why does he have a fucking Boston accent?
I don't know,
it drives me nuts. Every time he like speaks and she like does his voice, I'm like, oh. It annoys me.
Fantasy Boston.
I apparently Boston.
Fantasy Costco. You don't understand that reference?
No, okay. I don't. Yeah, when he's talking, it's absolutely annoying. But other than that, I haven't really had any issues with it. I do sometimes with certain tasks I'm doing, like I get distracted and then I'm like, oh shit, I gotta like go back. I wasn't listening, so I am still trying to figure out like what I can and cannot do while listening to where it has my undivided attention. But I get distracted easily, so it is what it is.
It does like you have ADHD.
Weird. Probably. So it also helps me get through books quickly. I'm a slow reader, as you've been listening, So Beck definitely knows, because she's like, read this. I'm like,
yeah.
months later, I'm like, oh, I got around to it. So it helps me kind of get through books quicker. I still love reading. I still, at bed, when I go to bed, I love reading a few chapters before I go to sleep. I have to do it at this point. It's become a habit. Anyways, what I'm getting at is if anyone has been on the fence about Audible, like they've thought about it, I was a major skeptic and I actually enjoy it. I still enjoy reading. It's not like Kindle that like e-reading, which like changed my life and I don't even read.
Oh, that's yeah.
That totally like transformed everything because it just makes it so much
I told
easier.
you about that too.
Thank you. I didn't think I'd like it.
Just kidding.
You're like, do this. I'm like, oh. And then I do it and I'm like, oh, read fantasy. Oh, literally everything.
The Lord of the Rings isn't that bad.
I just need to listen to you. But anyways, yeah, that's all. So right now I'm reading Heir of Fire, like I was saying. Once I finish that, before I start Assassin's Blade, I am gonna sneak in like a couple of horrors and stuff, just to spooky season and everything. Because it's really hard for me to read this and anything else because once I start this, just like with was it And If I See Her, like it, or And If You See Her, it gets put on the back burner because I'm just so enthralled in Throne of Glass. So I'm going to read a couple things and then move into Assassin's Blade. And then, yeah, we'll go from there.
I think having the podcast too doesn't help with like the reading order because you want to get through it so you can actually talk about it. But then you realize that you're only talking about one book and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah, that was me today. I'm like, I have to finish this today.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. What are you reading though?
So TikTok, I put up a poll for TikTok to see what I should read next. So the winner was Knock Knock Open Wide. It's like this Irish folklore kind of horror. I didn't get too far into it. I read a couple chapters and I got the sleepies, but I'm excited to read it. There's no audiobook for it though. So it's all
read it.
Yeah, I had to raw dog this. But I will put an honorable mention. Well, not honorable mention, but I did read, I want to say like 75% of Half Truths by Clara Contreras. It's a kind of a hockey romance, but also like a secret society. But I DNF'd it because at some point it just became too ridiculous and like I wanted more hockey and less
a dishonorable mention.
Dishonorable mention.
Yeah. Oh, that sucks.
I mean, it's okay. Like I think at this point you and I have read so much I don't want to say good books, but good books. That reading
mediocre, you're like,
yeah, it's just not worth my time. Right?
Yeah.
Like
I've given up on quite a few.
Yeah,
I've given up on quite a few. I was reading what was the one I DNF'd?
To Touch a Reaper? Yeah.
It was just the same thing over and over. And I finally was just like, I'm done. I want to get to Throne of Glass.
Well, like
I DNF'd it because it was just boring. It got boring. Yeah. It was like, okay,
nothing
but it's like
happens.
No, why are you making this book long just to make this book long? Like, let's get on with it.
Well, and like that was why I started reading Half Truths, is because like it's kind of a like back to school but dark academia is how it was marketed, and hockey. But then like it was a lot less dark than I thought, and like I don't know, like more about how rich she is and how rich her father is, and I'm like, I don't give a shit.
No, I hate that.
And then like
not for us.
All of a sudden they're dating. I'm like, when did this happen? And then I was over it. I'm like, you know what? Boo.
No. Yeah. Next.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you pay for it?
No, it's on Kindle Unlimited.
Okay. Well, at least there's that.
Oh yeah. I would have probably finished it if I paid for it.
Yeah. You paid with your time.
Yeah.
It's precious.
I did.
Damn it. I know. I've done that with so many books, so it's okay. It's okay. So the dishonorable mention to, what's it called?
Half Truths.
Half Truths. But Knock Knock Open Wide, I personally voted for that too. Ooh.
Yeah, I know. I saw that.
Yeah, so I'm excited to hear about it.
I'm very excited. I'm still going to read Red Rabbit. It's just that it was next. Like I couldn't choose between the two.
Yeah. Alrighty. Do you have anything else?
I do not. That's all for today's episode of Novelty with S&B. Thank you so much for joining us, if you did. If you listen to us later, comment, like, subscribe, let us know what you thought. I stole your line. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's okay. Leave a review. Follow us on social media for more of our bookish content. I've been your co-host, Stephanie.
And I'm back.
And this has been Novelty with S&B. See you in the next chapter. Bye.